everybody?
You.
What's up?
We are
How are
back.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It feels like it's been a long time since the three of us plus Cleniff did the show.
The bad boys of wrestling are back, baby.
Well, it's definitely been
Yeah.
a long time since a good show's been put out. We had that opportunity a couple weeks ago, but you and Clinton fucked it up.
I apologize for that.
He apologizes. We're moving on. And that's still some people's favorite episode, so it's a big hit at work. It's a big hit at work, honestly. People like to see Doug get pissed.
Yeah, people told me, they're like, look, we know you hated that show, but it was actually really good just because of the fact that you got pissed.
Yeah.
You're not sharing the screen anymore?
No, I will when we put the tier list up.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
I figured.
So how was your guys' week?
Out of the screen. Good week. It was a good week. It was a good wrestling week too.
Yeah.
There was some good wrestling on the TV, and
Yeah.
we'll get to our workers of the week quick because we have a lot of we got a big episode today. But I am Dizzle. That is Dutchy, and we are the Sexy Boys, as our caption says. And we have Money E, Eric, our very good friend, and we're all here to do the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. And it's been a while. It's been a couple weeks now. The kid had a birthday. It's been a lot of shit. So I'm an older, wiser man now. We're here to talk some wrestling. We're here to talk the top of the top, the creme de la creme, the top guy tier list, which this is an idea I came up with because I was thinking about big guys that have led companies and have been big draws. And I've also thought about a lot of guys that were put in that position almost or tried to, but it didn't work out.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like it's such a broad category. And the rules for this pretty much, I'll explain the rules before we get into the worker of the week. The rules, it's a pretty big criteria. If they were getting pushed towards the main event, even if they didn't really do a main event, but at least one main event match, probably. But also, they need to have had that rocket like ship strapped to their back. Like they need to, like, we're going to go with some guys that got kind of big pushes, pretty much. They were pushed to the top or like tried and it didn't work out. And so, like, an example of who it would not be is I love Dean Malenko, but it wouldn't be Dean Malenko. I know he's had one world championship match, and it wasn't even on Nitro. But
Yeah.
he fucking I love him to death. He's one of the best wrestlers, and if it was that, he would be at the elite top of the tier. But he never really got that main event push. He never really got over that hump. So, like, a guy like him would not make the criteria for this. And
He's more of a top mid-carder.
Yes. And for an example, for the other way, we are just judging guys on that big push and on how well they did with the rocket ship strapped to their back.
Yep, not their whole career.
Like, if we bring up Bubba Ray Dudley, we're not talking about the Dudley boys very much. We can a little bit as ECW because they were kind of top guys in ECW, but as a tag team. But we're mainly talking about Bully Ray, him kind of being the head, like one of the big like heels on TNA Wrestling and Impact, and him like fucking up AJ Styles. Like they clearly had a big push for him going there. We're gonna talk about that shit. We're not talking about the Hardy Boys. We're talking about Jeff Hardy. We're talking about fucking, even though that was classic shit, we're talking about the 2008 like championship, like Chase and Run and winning the title in Buffalo that we got to see.
Yeah, when we count Matt Hardy and the whole delete.
We can try. Well,
he was a world champion in TNA.
Yeah, and ECW is a brand, technically, but I don't know how far we're going here. But yeah, he could get brought up. So someone that just got a big push, or at least they attempted to push them, even if it sucked. First, let's give our worker. We're clear on the rules, right, fellas?
Yeah.
All right.
I might have to explain him again once Butt McPlug gets here.
Oh, he's a great guy. But let's get into our worker of the week.
He's not an idiot.
Speaking of butt plugs, I'm going with Bobby Lashley. He's back in wrestling, and I'm excited to see it. And
great debut.
Hopefully they don't like. It's not that I don't want to see the Hurt Business. I just want to see new shit. I don't want to see WWE shit on their TV. So I hope they can do something different. And this feud with Swerve can be very good. Bobby Lashley and Swerve, there is a lot of money in. So
Yeah.
yeah, Bobby Lashley is my work of the week. Who do you got, Eric?
I got Private Party. I thought I'm so happy
Oh,
Young Bucks lost and Young
great
Buck.
Great title one.
Yeah,
Keep going. I'm sorry.
it was a good win, good match. A lot of false finishes, too much for my liking, but it was a great ending, and I'm glad that Private Party finally got their moment in the sun.
I watched that match. I feel like those two just have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
Like I remember that match when Private Party beat him in the first few months of Dynamite in that tag tournament when Private Party got him out of nowhere and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Like those two just had, and I remember watching that like, holy. And this was the early stages of AEW when I was in.
Yeah.
I was like, "Let's fucking go." WWE sucks right now, and it just and the Private Party. They've always been a good team. They've kind of got pushed to the side. I'm glad they fucking got their moment again in the sun.
Exactly.
So hopefully they can run with it and take this shit far. I'm proud of them. Doug, real quick, who's your worker of the week?
I'm gonna give it to I'm gonna give it to Tony D'Angelo. The match with Obafemi at Halloween Havoc. I think he's doing real good work as the Don. Now they're getting Nikita Lyons kind of involved, and Nikita Lyons and Obafemi, which what's funny here is that like people are bitching. It's like, oh, she does not need to be involved. Nobody needs to see that. And it's just like, and the guy who said it has really shitty opinions. So I told the guy, I said, well, if you don't like it, if you're just saying you don't want to see it, I think it should happen.
It's something new for her to do. I mean, she can't just shake her ass with Lola Vice forever.
Yeah.
Even though I mean, she could, she could,
Yeah.
but she could. But I mean, yeah, it's something for her to do. It's a character development. She's in NXT. It's time to try things and put her in stories. And she's been around for a little bit now too, and she's only really done matches. She like as far as like a big program. What's her biggest?
I don't think she really had one because she kept getting hurt.
Yeah, so I like the idea of putting her in something and just seeing if it works. I think why hate on that?
Lola Vice is still kind of doing the stuff with Jada Parker. They're going to wrestle each other on Wednesday. NXT's on Wednesday this week, not Tuesday, because CW wants to cover the shit show at the White House.
Yep.
Instead of wrestling at the ECW arena.
Well, it's AEW. If it was WWE, they would do it. Or are you talking?
It's NXT.
Oh, it's NXT.
But
NXT at ECW arena.
If it was Raw, they would do it.
yeah, they're like they were like, well, we gotta have election coverage. Which you really like. It's another year. It's another year of Vince Russo versus Dixie Carter.
That's pretty funny.
I remember when Trump ran against Hillary, and somebody had the meme out there. It's like Trump versus.
Oh, you stole that?
Yeah,
you son of a.
No, somebody had it online, so I shared it in the THT group, and Pussy McBag over here got so pissed off. He goes, "This isn't funny," and
now he's laughing at it.
Everybody else in the group thought it was funny, so I messaged him. I said, "Just so you know, you're wrong. This is funny. Get the fuck over whatever your issue is."
Not with 8 years. I'm not that sensitive anymore. Sensitive like that.
Yeah, he's
anymore.
Well,
got
even
the-
if you were, I'd still make fun of you.
Well, 8 years of Doug, you gotta have fucking thick skin by this point.
Yeah,
This guy's a dick.
yeah.
I love him to death. He's a fellow sexy boy.
Yeah, but yeah. So like, it's kind of another year of that, except for I don't think that the person running against Trump this time is as bad as Hillary Clinton, but it's just like it's just another one of those things to where
It's so funny. It was just a good comparison. We don't even need to elaborate much.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
the best political take we can have on this show. Is that I think that NXT's got something brewing there. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
AEW is going to be in Philadelphia tomorrow, and then NXT on Wednesday. So
And I'm sorry, and I love AEW, and I hope they continue to do well, and I hope they can start, turning around some things. But you got to admit, Eric, WWE's the hottest it's ever been.
Yeah.
The
is.
the houses they're doing, the fucking programs they're putting on.
What do you guys think of this
Bloodline.
new ID, WWE ID with Vince?
Oh, I don't give a shit.
The what?
The new company he's starting or something?
I don't think it's
Whatever.
going to be a wrestling company. It's a movie
it's not,
TV studio.
It's not called WWE. The WWE ID program is for independent wrestlers that are going into the. It's kind of a different version of their next in line program.
It's the combine shit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like what JR was doing back in the day.
Yeah.
It's getting NFL players and all sorts of athletes. Not
Yeah,
NFL
well,
players, but
this-
college athletes.
Yeah, this ID program is for like independent wrestlers.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
No, the thing that that piece of shit's working on is he's trying to do like it's going to be for like sports, or it's going to be for like TV and movie
Yeah, that's what I heard.
projects.
I heard it was a movie studio.
Okay.
And good for
I thought
him.
they were all in one.
But WWE,
Done.
man. And the Bloodline saga. Like, that's the thing. Giving Bobby Lashley my work of the week, I'm glad he's there, and that's great. But the Bloodline saga has been phenomenal, and WWE television is just better than AEW.
Yeah.
That's just what it is right now. It might change, and I can't wait for it to change. And you know how big I was. There was a time that Dynamite was a better show than Raw.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not gonna for the first few months of Dynamite and that year or two in that company, they were fucking smoking hot and they were putting on great television. Right now, they're in a weird period and they're putting on some good matches still. And they're telling some okay stories. Some stories that I think people aren't giving too much of the benefit of the doubt and that actually have more meat to them than they'd like. Like Tony Storm and Mariah May was a great story.
Yeah.
Everything Mariah May has been doing has been great. Like AEW has some hot shit for sure, but WWE just so many stuff. Like Jimmy Uso's over as fuck. Jimmy Uso could have been working with. Jimmy Uso is the fucking man right now, and he's not. And to me, he's the third or fourth best member in the family. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just if I were to rank them as a fan. But Jimmy Uso is fucking the man right now. He seems like the chillest and someone I'd like to have a beer with. He seems cool as fuck. But as a wrestler, and he's killing it. And people are like excited and pop when Jimmy comes out, let alone the fucking Yeet. So that whole family is over as fuck. And when the Wise Man comes back out, oh my God. So the current WWE has a lot of good shit right now. Let's get into this fucking tier list. Top guys, baby.
Who should we start with?
Well, I'm going to show. This is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to show the Microsoft because we're not doing a tier maker thing. We got our own tiers here. We got a solid draw. We got a major star is the top of the list. That's the best of the best. The solid draw, which is like they're right there. They're almost like one of the best superstars, but they just didn't quite make it. A good hand is like they did well with the push, but it wasn't to the moon, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Had potential, was it really didn't work out, kind of more mediocre, like it needed something. Didn't work is just playing out. You know, that's self-explanatory. And a flop is a flop. And that's just the ass cheeks of the ass cheeks. And we're going to have a lot of those. But let's start out with our first name. And I'm going to hit you guys. I wanted to go with a name that I don't know if this guy, he really did try to lead a company. And it didn't. And I just don't know if the company had the means and the money and they could have put it behind him. I'm going Nick Aldis.
So all right. So his deal as far as being a top guy, NWA champion.
Yes.
All right. On a couple of occasions.
Face Cody for the belt at All In. That's a big
Face
moment.
Cody for the belt at All In.
Great match.
Won the belt back from Cody at the NWA 75th anniversary. Former TNA champion is Magnus. When Jeff Jarrett was trying to start out Global Force Wrestling, Magnus was actually the original champion.
Yeah. And
Oh,
for
wow.
TNA, for that, even though it was kind of a dark age, and when people kind of stopped watching,
Yeah.
he was their guy for a while. He was kind of the face of TNA as Magnus, and he was kind of who they were going with. So I feel like, and he's been a wrestler for a while, and his tag team with Doug Williams, right?
Yeah, the British Invasion.
That really isn't in play here because that's not a main event thing. But everything else, but that's even a good run. But he fucking, as a top guy, he's been positioned as a top guy in like a lot of things. And even if people are like, oh, he might come out of retirement to face Cody, that's the WWE Championship, man. So like, if people think he's coming out of retirement, he's going to be a top guy when he does that. He's not coming out of retirement to fight the mid card.
Exactly.
So like Nick Aldis has kind of always been presented as like a big deal. So what do we think? Like that's a hard one to start off with, guys. And Doug's on his fucking phone.
Let's say
It's okay.
great hand.
I mean, I'm not gonna say great hand because that's not the tier. I'll say good hand.
A good hand.
We're gonna get your face in there.
I'm right here.
Oh, now you are. You were just a talking skull a second ago. There you go. Yeah, because I don't think I think the companies that he was at had potential. That's the only thing that I would knock it down because he wasn't the face of anything that was big and drawing money. That's the one knock against him. He was the man for companies that weren't doing well at the time when he was the man. And it wasn't his fault at all. But that's the only reason I'm kind of going between good hand and had potential.
Yeah.
Because he, it's one thing being the face and the top guy and the world champion, but there's fucking 200 people in the seats instead of 20,000, We got to take that into consideration. But everything's up for grabs here. TNA, fucking MLW, New Japan, AEW, fucking the territories. So, and then not all of these companies were fucking at the top. WWE kind of always has been. So we gotta judge them on a different level too.
Exactly. Yep.
I think I'll settle on good hand. Is that what you were thinking, Doug?
Yeah. Somebody just released something that there may have been budget cuts today. I'm trying to find out if there's truth to that or not.
Doug's doing the big research. All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to hit you with another name. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
The Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Oh. So if it wasn't for him, then if it wasn't for him, I don't think Hogan would have gotten as over and as hot as he did.
WrestleMania 1,
Yeah.
baby. Him and Orndorff.
Yeah. Now, by the way, Roddy Piper has never really been a world champion. Now, he's had multiple title runs with secondary titles, and he was big in Mid-Atlantic. He was big in Mid-Atlantic. He was big, obviously, in WWF, and WCW kind of had a run. But he was always good as the kind of the foil, the top heel for Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're judging him on here. Because the mid-card stuff with Brett was amazing, but it was in the mid-card.
Yeah.
His aura as a top guy is being the best villain for Hulk Hogan. And that puts you at least at a solid draw for me. Because people were paying money to see Hulk Hogan, but they were also paying money to see him kick the shit out of Roddy Piper. So, and Hogan was great against big guys too. They did it it wasn't just they didn't need. But they needed him for that. I don't know. Hey, and the fact that Hogan never really beat him clean. He was the one guy that didn't really put him over like that until WCW. It was kind of fucking sick. There was something about the Hot Rod. I think he's a solid draw. What about you?
I would say, I would agree. Solid draw.
Is he a major star? I mean, Hot Rod's one of the greatest to ever do it. But
As
is
far
he
as
amazing?
being the top guy, if he would have ever gotten a world title run, yes, he would have been a major star.
Yeah.
A solid draw, and there's going to be a lot of like old school fans that are going to disagree with this. But I'm saying this as a huge Roddy Piper mark.
Yeah, and I fucking love Roddy Piper.
Okay.
He's the best promo in the business.
Yeah. By the way, next year for Halloween, there are actually Roddy Piper and Bret Hart costumes out there. So you and I should go as Roddy Piper and Bret Hart.
If you're going as Hot Rod, I'm going as Nate. I'm
We-
getting a
we-
robe and a wig. There's got to be one.
Yeah.
Are we thinking solid draw, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd love to put him. I would love to put him in major star, but as the top and being the top guy for Hogan means a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. He didn't spend. It was a lot of time, and especially in WCW too. We have to take that into account.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. I think I would just go. So that was a hard one.
Yeah.
It's been
Well-
two hard ones.
It's hard because, we're all big Piper fans.
Yeah.
And by the way, so if I go as Roddy Piper and you go as Ric Flair, Eric's got to be the one to go as Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have Mindy go as Mick Foley.
How do you think about how controversial this list is actually going to be? All right. Well, let's hit it with a unanimous one now.
Okay.
Okay.
The Great Khali.
All right. Former world champion. Always sucked. But the funny thing is, when he had kind of the run up top with Cena,
Yeah.
it was just like it was one of those, because you build up a monster heel as somebody that it doesn't look like the babyface can beat.
Yeah.
It has to take, back in the days of Big John Studd and Andre, when Andre was a heel, and I'll even say Vader and Crusher Blackwell and a lot of those big 400, 500 pound guys. Abdullah the Butcher also kind of be in that list as well. And bigger guys too, guys that are like 6'10", 6'11", maybe 7 foot tall. What you have to do with them is you have to get them as over as possible, even when they're working with the champion. So you have to make it look like your champion is not going to be able to beat this person.
Yeah.
So, like, the first match should probably be like a double disqualification or a disqualification or whatever the hell, or maybe a count out. Justify the next match.
Yeah.
Then we do like a double disqualification or something like that. So it has to be like two or three matches before the guy, or before like your babyface champion overcomes the monster heel. When Cena and Khali worked against each other, it was Cena beat Khali, but Khali's foot was under the rope because Khali's so big.
Yeah.
So that gave Khali another shot. All right. But then after that, Khali then gets beat by Cena and then moves on to SmackDown, wins the world title. So as far as that goes, like, they kind of just rushed. Although, like, back in the, even like nowadays too, it seems like everything is kind of rushed.
It's not about booking though. He blew. It wasn't like he killed Rey Mysterio, for God's sake.
Did you not ask me to analyze?
No, and I'm
Every-
glad you're analyzing him. That's great, but you're kind of making it sound like they didn't do the right thing with the big talent. They had a big lump of shit that could barely walk, and I love Khali as a. And by the way, my favorite stuff is when they shipped him to the mid card and made him the Pujami Playboy, and he started fucking making out with Mickey James and shit. I know you didn't like that, but
I was not a fan of that. I was actually thinking about picking a fight with him at then Armageddon.
well, I'm glad you didn't.
It's actually funny. A buddy of mine, I remember telling him, I said, yeah, my favorite female wrestler was making out with a big 7 foot Indian guy. TV. I'm going to pick a fight with him at the pay-per-view that we're going to on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, what does this guy look like? And he then saw a picture of Great Khali. He's like, you're going to pick a fight with a guy that's 7'4".
Yeah, he takes poops bigger than you.
And I'm like, yeah, I think I can beat him. He goes, you're going to be in a body casting. You're not going to work.
It would have been fun as Little Hummer. I got to see Jeff Hardy win the world title and my brother go to the hospital on the same night. But
I mean, technically, those tickets were your birthday present that year.
it was a great birthday.
Yeah.
Especially because Jeff won the big one. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was huge. And we'll get to that a little bit later on, I'm sure. But as far as like the Khali thing goes, it's
Like, I thought they booked him fine. Like, he killed Ray. When squishing Ray's head was pretty cool. Squishing the watermelon was stupid.
yeah.
But squishing fucking Ray's head like a water. Wasn't Ray bleeding from the mouth? That was him, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think
I'm
so.
pretty sure I'm right, yeah. And he like fucking damn near killed. And this was like in Rey Mysterio's like world title run. I think it was a non-title match, and he like killed Ray.
Yeah, it was like JBL was having Rey Mysterio kind of run the gauntlet, and he's like, "All right, you're going to wrestle Khali," and Mysterio got one move off, which was a drop kick off a springboard drop kick, and Khali didn't even move.
It's like he's the world champion, and he's getting pooped on. But
I'm going to say it didn't work. I wasn't a fan of Great Khali, so
nah, he's a flop.
Yeah,
Didn't work.
A flop.
I mean, I tried to defend him.
Well,
nice
'cause
try, Doug.
to me, didn't work means it could have maybe. I don't think Khali could have worked.
Well, we knew he couldn't work.
That's what I'm saying.
That didn't work. I mean, you want to put him under flop,
Well,
right?
no, the majority beat me. You and Eric both said it didn't work.
You almost put him as Great Caitlyn.
I feel bad talking shit about because he seems like the sweetest man on planet Earth. I'm just saying, as a Top Gun monster heel, I mean,
he got more over in his part on Get Smart.
he's better than Giant Gonzalez. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we hit a big turd, let's go to a big bird. Let's get somebody that is a real top guy. Let's go Sting.
Oh, multiple time WCW champion, NWA champion, TNA champion.
Wrestled for the WWE belt.
Wrestled for the WWE title. Huge main event draw. And the thing is that like for years Vince was trying to get him to come over.
Really?
Yeah. Well, according to Bruce Pritchard, the first time they tried was back in '89. They actually flew him. Bruce was trying to get him in because Bruce knew him. And Bruce was trying to get him in. This is February of '89. It was that main event show where Savage turned on Hogan. And they flew Sting in. It was the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. But Bruce was sick as a dog. So Bruce was supposed to negotiate the meeting between Sting and Vince, and Bruce was supposed to be there. Well, because Bruce was sick and couldn't wasn't really able to, be functional at the meeting, Vince is just like, yeah, we'll pass.
Yeah.
We'll pass, pal.
They should have fought way fucking harder after his Turner contract expired. Like the fact that he's like, yep, I'm gonna go with Jeff. Go fuck yourself. And he was always the face against them, so I get it. But if you would have brought him back for WrestleMania 20 or brought him in and had the Undertaker turn dead man and then maybe solve the Cage shit earlier and then go right to him and dead man Undertaker at WrestleMania 20, you're printing fucking money.
Yeah.
It's just Sting was always to me he's a major star. Because he is the guy he was the face against Vince for the longest time. And he always represented WCW.
Definitely a major star.
Hogan might have done it. And Hogan might have fucking made the turn with NWO and all that. I'll give it to you. But Sting was that reliable face of the company. The biggest business they ever did.
Two companies.
Starrcade, the biggest pay-per-view they ever did was because of Sting.
He was a top star for two companies.
Yeah. And one company almost beat Vince with him as like a top draw and star and world champion. So like, and people say that company failing is because they fucked him over that night. So some people say the downturn of WCW starts at Starrcade '97 when Sting doesn't get to really go over clean, and Hogan and Bischoff pull that shit. Some people fucking lay the demise like there because Sting was
can
that
argue
important to that fucking company. And TNA was a whole nother level. He was in a whole nother layer. And him wrestling with guys like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, it was just amazing to watch. And he was
Yeah.
always the top guy and presented as like a main event. They was main event mafia. He was always the guy in TNA too. Wherever he was the guy. Even this run in AEW, it was more mid card stuff, but he really
He
gave
was
Darby the run.
over. He was still over in AEW.
And he made that pay per view when he retired. That tag match with the Bucks was actually pretty good.
So the thing with Sting is if he would have disgusting.
So are you.
But like if he would have made the jump in in whenever, because I think they tried again in '92
Yeah.
because when they signed Lex, they're like, you know what? Because I think what they wanted to do was they signed Lex, and then later on in the year they signed the Steiners, and the Steiners and Luger really wanted Sting to be with them.
Yeah.
So they're like, you should get Sting, you should get Sting, but they were but Sting just didn't want to leave because he gets the schedule from Vince. Vince is like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be on the road, this many, days or whatever. And he said to Vince, he goes, I can't do that.
Yeah, he was always a family man.
Yeah. He's like, look, he goes, I would love to make the money. I would love to be with my buddies. Flair used to tell him all the time. He's like, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Like,
That was
Go.
money on the table, but he made so much money at Turner. That dude fucking made out fine. And even with Dixie and the Panda Energy money, he was fucking. Sting is for relaxing right now.
yeah.
And the fact that Tony still wants to pay him to fucking he'll have Sting doing backstage interviews for God's sakes and pay him $1 million. So Sting ain't got to worry about the cash flow. But he is, and it's crazy about all the guys that you said went over. But think about the guys that went over to WCW while he was still there, the major players that they got, and Sting was always still the main attraction and a main star there. And
Yep.
through all the rises of so many guys, Sting was the constant. He was always the constant. Through your Goldbergs, through your NWOs, through your DDPs, you always had Sting. And he's a major star.
Yeah.
There's no way you can go about it. He's
No
the
question.
top guy to not work for Vince. We have our first major star, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to another name that I think this guy is kind of underrated, and I'm excited to talk about him. Maybe if you remember, and Eric, this is kind of your wheelhouse because you're a fucking Philadelphia ECW kid. This guy was a face of a company, Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah. He was the heart and soul of ECW.
The
A lot of
innovator of
people would say.
violence. If you're watching the WWE run, you're like, man, a top guy. But fucking go back. That dude was the fucking tits. Tommy Dreamer was the man for a very long time. And he was Sting, that was Tommy for ECW.
Yep.
He was the constant. He was the guy that the fans could always rely on. He's probably not winning the match, but you could always rely on him.
Anytime he shows up in New York or Philly, he gets
Ever since he
Big
took
pop.
those pain strikes to the back from Sandman, Tommy Dreamer was a made man in Philadelphia.
Yep, Philadelphia and New York.
People love that guy. He was an ECW. Like, if they would have went mainstream and did it right, they would have kept Tommy right at the forefront.
Yep.
And they could have made a lot of money.
If there was an ECW Hall of Fame, he would probably be the first one in.
Now, because ECW is not on the level of WCW and WWE, and I don't mean that in a minute, not on the terms of storytelling, but on the terms of,
Yeah. Company.
audience and
Mhm.
people watching it, not tapes and shit, but like buy rates and tickets, and they had that cult movement, but he can't be right next to Sting. And I
No.
love Tommy Dreamer, and he's one of my favorites, but he can't be right next to Sting. I would have to go solid draw because he never did it anywhere else. If not, I might even have to go good hand.
I was going to
I
say good
only
hand.
more
did it-
good hand for Dreamer.
Because TNA, whatever else he did, and he did some main event shit in TNA, but he was ECW, and that was it. And then after that, it was just kind of it's cool to see him on the card, but there wasn't much there. It felt like, and that's not to be rude. And he's one of the smartest brains in the business too. But the writers and shit, maybe there wasn't much you could do. I don't know, but in WWE, he was not the same.
No.
No,
I would definitely. He to me is more of a good hand.
I would say good hand too.
I mean ECW, yes, he was the heart and soul, and I get that. But I don't know. To me, he just seems more good hand than anything.
Yeah, I would
Yep.
agree. Like I said, he was the Sting of ECW, but then Sting stayed Sting in TNA and everywhere. Sting was always Sting. Tommy Dreamer kind of lost something after ECW.
A little bit of
And he's
breaking
only-
news.
He was only over in New York and Philly,
Philly.
outside of ECW.
Well, because he's a fucking look at the guy.
Right.
He is New York and Philly.
A little bit of breaking news. I just what I was looking for, I confirmed. WWE has come to the terms on the releases. Well, they're not going to re-sign when the deals are up, and the deals are almost up.
Go ahead.
Baron Corbin,
Oh,
Indy Hartwell,
I liked her.
yeah. And she's shocking because she's in the middle of she's doing the thing with Candice right now,
Yeah.
and Tegan Knox, who hasn't really been featured anywhere.
Damn.
Baron Corbin, I'm not surprised. I know
Yeah, but he's
Boxman will be
finally
happy.
kind of over as like a mid-card babyface that puts people over. That's kind of the best role for him. They found something that kind of worked for him, and it's like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. So I don't know if any more are coming. Corbin had put it on Twitter. He goes, "Well, that's all she wrote, folks."
That was a damn good run. That was a damn like because
I could
and
see
we'll
him in
talk about him,
TNA.
and he's not going to rank high, but fucking they tried, and he
Yeah.
tried, and everybody tried.
Yeah, but the fans just wouldn't let him get over.
No, and I like the lone wolf shit.
Yeah.
I could see him
Everything
in
else.
TNA.
But yeah, so those three. I don't know if any more are coming. Indy Hartwell to me is a shocker, especially since because it looked like they were kind of setting up. It looked like they were setting up a match between her and Bailey at some point.
Not anymore.
I mean, as far as I know, and again,
Did you see that picture of her cooking on the grill with her ass out?
yeah.
That better not have been it.
Well, they released two other people, so
She's a good-looking lady, but she had some potential. She's
Yeah.
been in a world tag team title match. She's not the greatest worker. I mean, she was a cool little underdog story. I don't know.
well, as far as I know, and again, they taped SmackDown last week. Her and Candice are wrestling Bailey and Naomi, I think, tonight.
Yeah, and now she's
Oh wow.
gone.
Samantha Irvin's gone too.
Yeah, but that's her own fucking doing.
Yeah. It's crazy they're doing the best business and they're making budget cuts. They got so many people though.
I think what they're doing is they're trying to open up the budget a little bit, especially with this new program that Eric alluded to earlier that he thought was something else. But
Yeah.
they're
They're cutting some fat.
cutting some fat, I think, to make room for the fact that they're going to start signing more independent guys.
And like I said, Indy has probably the most potential out of the three, but none of them are fucking big draws. It's not like it's quiet releases. No offense to any of them.
Yeah.
But and I
I
think
can see all of them in TNA.
I can see Tegan and Indy in AEW.
I could, to be honest, I could see Corbin going to MLW.
Yeah. He'll get work. He'll be fine. And
All three of them will get work.
he was featured on WWE television for a long time.
I mean,
in a major role.
And Tegan Knox has been released by the company before. She actually thought she was getting released when they released a bunch of people in, I think, May. She thought she was getting released then.
They'll bring her back.
They had nothing for her to do.
Yeah, but Indy's in something.
Well, and that's why, again, Indy Hartwell. Even though I like Tegan Knox the most, Indy Hartwell is the most surprising to me because they were doing something with her.
Yeah. All right. You ready for the next name?
Yeah.
Yep.
You sure?
Yeah, I broke the news. I needed a break.
All right.
Oh wait, no, just kidding.
AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. What do you mean, who, you piece of shit? Now you're fired from the show. Eric, when's Clinic coming in?
I don't know. I haven't heard from him.
Fucking moron. What do you know? Clinic disappoints again. All right.
You got nothing on AJ Styles?
No, I do. I just had to.
The
throw a shit
TNA
down.
World Champion, the
TNA
face of TNA.
Also, New Japan. The IWGP Heavyweight
EP.
Champion. Couple of occasions. WWE.
Bullet Club.
I'm giving the rundown, dumbass.
Yeah, well, you took too long. I don't blame him for interjecting. You took like 5 minutes to talk about it. You were too busy shit talking Clinic.
Yeah.
And that pissed me off.
Right. All right. IWGP champion on a couple of occasions, WWE champion on a couple of occasions. I don't think he ever won the Ring of Honor title. I know he was there, but
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
He was the fucking man, bro.
Yeah.
That's the face of TNA. He came to WWE, won the WWE Championship. He beat the fuck out of John Cena. He is the guy. He is always now. He's not a major star, and I'm the
Solid
biggest
draw.
AJ Styles mark on this fucking podcast. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's in my top 5. If I had a Mount Rushmore of myself, like that got me into wrestling, AJ would be on there. But fucking,
I would
as
say major draw. I mean, major star.
I wouldn't, because he was a world champion in a downtime for the WWE when business wasn't as hot and people weren't as invested and people were excited for AEW to show up and wanted fucking WWE to have a competitor. And there was an independent wrestling boom going on. There was the exciting things in wrestling weren't in WWE, and he was the man, and he was supposed to be.
well, remember, he held the title for a year, and it's not because he was such a great champion. It was because we have nobody that we can count on
Yeah.
that can take the title from him.
And the feuds didn't really work. Like the Shinsuke feud was way better in New Japan. The Dean Ambrose feud got kind of botched with some James Ellsworth.
His stuff with Joe was pretty good.
Yeah, beating Gender, and then his feud with Daniel Bryan, I didn't mind for the Wooden Championship. But
His
I
feud with
don't-
Joe was better in TNA.
I liked AJ in WWE, but it was a different style. He was trying to adapt. He was trying to be like a WWE style. And I did think something got a little lost for me. But he's still one of the best to ever do it, and I still love him. But his TNA run is still special to my heart. And I think as the face of that company, they only really used him stupid in 08. Besides that, I thought he was like a major fucking big deal. He was always the face of the company. He was the John Cena of that place.
Yeah.
Even when he wasn't champion.
What's funny is that, when because they always wanted him to be, they knew he was going to be the top star in TNA. And then, they did the whole thing where Flair managed him for a little bit. And then, the Fortune stuff. And then they had him be the guy who was like, oh, I've been here for 9 years, 10 years, whatever the hell it may be. This has always been the, my home. And even he would heal up on other baby faces, because he would be like that. He would almost kind of sound like that in that brat who he would get his nose up in the air at somebody because somebody for whatever reason. Like when they did the thing with Jeff Hardy, where Jeff Hardy was trying to apologize to the locker room,
Yeah.
and AJ just went like full heel, and it's like, just tell him you don't want to talk to him. You don't have to fucking lecture him, because one, he's about, he's the same age as you, and two, like, you're fucking, you're the size of a collie poop. So like, fucking, you're not this big on your fucking high. Get off your fucking high horse. The guy made a mistake.
Well, that's a relatable thing to fucking get mad about, though. The guy did drugs at work and put people's lives at risk.
Well,
What if they would have did the match and he would have hurt Sting? He's like, in all rights, like it's kind of like the Macho Man fucking Hulk Hogan Elizabeth thing. I think he has all right to fucking, hey, fuck you. You did something wrong here, and this is my home. This is my place.
He's like, you almost put this company out of business, and it's just like,
That's not true, obviously, but listen, I agree to an extent. I think his best stuff was when they turned him into like the Sting of TNA.
Yeah.
Towards the end, when he was really fucking like the guy again, and he had his resurgence, and he was the top of the card, and he won the world title, and he was the big deal AJ Styles, and he first started growing his hair out a little bit, and he had the hood and shit, like, and not the like hood that he used to wear, but like more like a biker jacket.
Yeah.
And he was just a badass.
Well, I remember like at that time when he left TNA, he walked out of TNA as the champion. They put the title on Nick Aldis, who was Magnus at the time. And what they were trying to do was they wanted AJ to take a pay cut. He said no. And then then they're like, well, go away for a while, think about it, come back, take the cut. And when he went back and did the one-off appearance or whatever, where he was going to wrestle Magnus to unify the titles, they were planning on him winning because they're like, all right, well, he's coming back. And he told him, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not signing a new deal.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it. Had a lot of good years here, but I'm not taking the pay cut. I'm gonna,
Bounce.
yeah, I'm gonna, kind of just bet on myself, like, like everybody else does nowadays. And I'm pretty sure I could get work elsewhere. And by the way, he did.
Yeah.
He went to New Japan right away.
Yep.
And then New Japan, it was funny because TNA was still trying to get him to work there, but New Japan hated TNA so much at that time to where they're just like, you know what? And when I say hated TNA, I meant hated Dixie.
Yeah.
Because Dixie had rubbed so many people the wrong way.
Yeah.
She'd make a horrible masseuse.
But AJ, and it speaks to how big of a deal he was that the company never came back, really.
Yeah.
And I know they're still doing shows and good for him, but the TNA will never be what it was when it had AJ Styles. And that's what almost takes him to major star, but I will say solid draw.
Yeah.
I want to say solid draw.
I'd agree with that.
If his WWE run would have been like what Cody's is,
Yeah.
then it's a little different. And he did have a lot of success, and I'm very proud and as an AJ Styles fan for that. But as far as quality of television entertainment, he was in that Vince McMahon ass era when Vince kind of lost his touch and the shit was bad.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird that they brought him in.
Yeah, it gave him such a big push. Solid draw, AJ Styles. All right, next up, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lex Luger.
Oh God. WCW World Champion on 2 occasions. Of course, unfortunately, the second occasion was only like 5 days.
Yeah. It was the biggest win, though.
It was a huge one, and it was a huge rating spike for the company.
Yeah, he was a huge star in the NWA going against Flair. They were making a lot of money, and the early stuff was Sting. And then when he left he comes in as the narcissist, and then they try to make him the next Hulk Hogan. That notably doesn't really work. He loses to Yokozuna at WrestleMania in the first match before Brett wins later on. And Lex is just kind of the guy that he didn't work out in WWE, but then he comes back to WCW, and people act like they try to look past that. He was one of the main guys fighting the NWO next to Sting. And he was like one of those, and eventually, of course, he joins them because that's how WCW works. But he was like that main guy fighting them, and he was like one of the top baby faces in the company. The total package, Lex Luger, was a way bigger, and we've talked about how underrated he is before. But he's almost a major star, but I'd put him at solid draw at least.
He's
I
not.
was going to say good hand.
Well, the thing that takes him from not being a good hand is he wasn't necessarily the greatest in-ring worker. Now, what makes him a solid draw is the fact that, he did pop ratings. And he also did, like, it had been announced that, that Nitro where he won the title.
Yeah.
They announced it the week before.
Yeah.
That, hey, this is the main event. Sellout building.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they were hoping that something big was going to happen. And it's a 3-hour Nitro, and it's our 100th episode.
Yep.
So it's 300th, a 3-hour show, 100th episode. You're going to do something special. So it's either going to be fucking, you're going to air, a sex tape between Jeff Jarrett and Deborah's taking it up the ass, or Lex Luger's going to win the world title. Now,
I'm assuming they went with the latter.
yes.
That was so good, though. It was such a good moment. Him having Hogan in the torture rack. It's just one of my favorite moments as a wrestling fan to watch.
So I just said that Deborah taking it up the ass. Eric took himself off camera so he could masturbate to it real quick.
She's a hot woman.
Well, I mean, she used to be.
I haven't seen her lately.
She was definitely. She was decent looking on the outside. On the inside, she looked about as ugly as Ursula the Sea Witch.
It's a hot broad. I think Lex Luger, he is not just a good hand.
I would say solid draw. I'd agree with you.
Because he helped kick Vince's ass. He was a major part in that. He was a major force in the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah.
You're getting overruled on this one, Eric. Oh, Lex Luger. Buffalo's finest. All right, next step. We're going to go with a man called, we already did Sting,
Yeah.
Vader.
WCW champion, multiple titles in Japan. I think he held multiple titles on multiple continents.
He's the fucking man. And then in WWE, they did put him in that main event, big push spot, even if it didn't last long. And he, Shawn Michaels SummerSlam, he did kind of get a big push when he came there.
Which, by the way, even though Shawn acted like a fucking bitch during that match, the match was still good.
Yeah.
And he was so good, and it was so agile for his size and athletic, to where I don't know if I'd necessarily say major star or major star or solid. I mean, he would definitely be. He is probably the greatest good hand of all time, because he could work with a lot of the guys that were smaller than him and could make it work, because he can match them on their agility and stuff.
Yeah. The only thing is, he was the head of WCW when they weren't doing that well. I'm not sure. I mean, Japan and wrestling's always been big, but
Yeah.
I think Vader's a good hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say a good hand too.
All right. Next up, we have the Mecca, John Cena.
Oh, obviously,
John Cena.
multiple
John Cena.
16-time WWE champion. Was the face of the company for so long.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it right now.
Major star.
Had potential. Well, because it's kind of hard to not say. Because even though, like, you hear the stories over the years, you hear guys say, "Oh, he held me down. He held me down." Here's the thing. Vince McMahon is the only person that can hold people down. Or Roseanne Barr when she was 400 pounds.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's the big thing about John Cena. People that don't know wrestling, don't watch it, don't care. What are 2 names or 3 names they know?
John Cena, The Rock, Hulk Hogan.
There you go.
And Stone Cold.
And Stone Cold is the biggest draw of all time, and maybe but still, the casuals, they know that you can't see me.
Yep.
People that have never watched the product know that you can't see me in the John Cena. Everybody knows that fucking guy. So it's hard to say that he's not a major star. And he crossed over into Hollywood, and he's a major star in Hollywood.
And The Rock.
The Rock too, but John Cena, he is the modern star. Like, they really want Roman to be him, and he kind of was almost. But John Cena was just, and I know he got the fucking booze too. But as a fucking representative of the WWE, no one did it better than John Cena.
Yeah. And again, like I was saying though too about the guys that say Cena held him down. Vince McMahon is the only one that can hold you down. But Vince McMahon would always go to John Cena and be like, "John, I don't know if this person's working out." And all John would just be like, "Okay." But then, like, the blame would get, because Vince McMahon, of course, doesn't like accountability.
John Cena never made any decisions like that.
No. And, like, the whole thing, and I know I've even accused him of, saying, the whole thing with Nikki Bella and how he convinced Vince, "Oh, you got to keep the title on Nikki."
Yeah.
There's probably 2 reasons why he did that. Well, 1 reason, and that's to shut her the fuck up. Because she probably wouldn't stop bitching. So he's like, "All right, fine. I'll go to Vince." He probably goes to Vince and says, "Vince, she doesn't want to lose the title. I don't want to fucking blow my brains out from her talking too much. Can we just hold off?" Okay, cool.
He was never my guy, but he was the ruthless aggression era, and that's the era I grew up in. And that's still some people's favorite eras. Like my one buddy who's a fucking idiot, but he's like,
"Oh, that's so many of them."
He's like, wrestling was so good when you had Rey Mysterio and Edge and John Cena, and it's like, you're missing so much wrestling. But the ruthless aggression era is still some people's favorite era ever, and he was the ruthless aggression era. He's the guy that said the fucking words.
Yep.
So John Cena, and then to cross over to the PG era, be the face of that too. He has always been the poster boy for that company. So
Definitely.
it's hard not to put him in it. He's in the Hulk Hogan, the Stone Cold. Like, John Cena's a major fucking star.
He wasn't the face of ruthless aggression. He was the face of ruthless aggression.
I didn't like that.
Good job, Doug.
I didn't think it was that good. You got a better one in you. Do it again.
He wasn't the face of ruthless aggression. He was the face of ruthless aggression.
That's probably what it sounds like when you come.
Well, that's actually my poop voice.
That's disgusting.
You brought it up.
I didn't bring up your poop voice. You
Oh my
did.
God.
All right, we're going to be heading out of here soon.
Yeah.
We got SmackDown. We'll do part 2 next week.
Okay.
Okay.
And we're gonna keep. I'm gonna do a bit of a speed round here.
Okay. So maybe Crotch McGrath might join us next week.
Yes, and we'll do the
Fucking
part 2.
boring.
This has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So we're gonna do some speed.
Yeah, we're gonna do some speed live on air. Let's see what we got here. We can give a sentence.
With ruthless aggression.
All right, shut the fuck up. We can give. We'll give like a sentence each and just say where we'd put them.
Okay.
The Miz.
Good hand.
He may have invented WrestleMania, but yeah, he's a good hand.
Yeah.
That was the worst WrestleMania.
He usually uses that hand to get Maurice off when he doesn't feel like putting it in her.
Oh my gosh.
You're fucking insane.
I know.
Or-
I don't like either one of them. So
Well, you don't know them. You never met the man. But all right. Rey Mysterio.
Good hand.
Another one.
Good hand.
Yeah.
No. Major fucking star. If not a solid draw, maybe I shouldn't have did Ray for the speed round. We'll get to him next time.
You're just like, all right, I'll give you a week to change your answers, assholes.
Yeah. Because I don't know what the fuck that was. A good hand. Fuck you. All right. Raven.
Had potential.
He borders on had potential and good hand.
I think he's a good hand because he was the greatest nemesis for Tommy Dreamer, and he was the best storyteller in ECW. And if there wasn't NWO bullshit and stuff holding him back in WCW, he could have been the same thing for them.
And he did hold the NWA title in TNA, but the issue there was that like Jeff Jarrett always felt like he had to be the champion.
We can put it in head potential because I do think there was something missing from it.
Speaking of Jeff Jarrett.
Was he here?
Double J.
Yep.
Who?
I would say solid draw.
No.
He's been the face of some bad shit.
He's been involved in way too much crap.
I love Double J though, and
I mean, I think he's a great human being.
but the best part of the crazy is the best part of his time as a top guy is his reign of terror that people didn't like. But
Yeah.
that's almost his best shit.
That's what Triple H did.
Reign of terror. Yeah, I know. But at the same time, he was doing it in TNA and beating great, R-Truth and Monty Brown and AJ, and he was just fucking burying people. And
Kurt.
well, Kurt beat him. He just fucked his wife. But
So I would say maybe
jeez, we're going to hell for this episode.
Yeah.
But I love
not
Kurt.
good hand. Maybe he had potential.
Who are we talking about again?
Jeff Jarrett.
Oh fuck. He's not a solid draw because WCW 2000.
No.
He is the face of that.
Yeah.
He
And it
is.
sucks.
He's like the top guy there, and it's the worst thing ever.
That was a bad time to be the top guy for WCW.
I don't think it was his fault, but Jeff Jarrett just had potential as a top guy. His mid card stuff was better. Who? R-Truth. They tried it in TNA and they tried it in WWE for a little bit with the little Jimmy shit. Main eventing a Survivor Series and a big time tag match is not nothing to scoff.
I'm gonna say had potential just because
Had potential.
as a top guy had potential. Just because I feel like nobody really gave it like a true chance.
Yeah.
The TNA stuff was cool, but then like you had again Jeff Jarrett is just like, I'm
The speed round could be over. We can just
Yeah.
keep talking now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Truth It's just like because Jeff Jarrett always had to be the center of attention.
Yeah. I'd agree, and but he was kind of a big star, and he was over with the crowd. But and he made evented a capital punishment, for God's sakes. The capital.
I mean, I would
punishment.
just say he had potential, but that's just me.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Oh, you son of a bitch, Doug!
You highlighted it.
You fucked that up. Nene. Palmer fixed it. All right. Yeah, he had potential. I can't believe Kali. All right, let's find a flop here. Vladimir Kozlov
Oh, major flop. Major flop.
Trash.
worked in the tag division with us.
Don't erase the tear.
Shut the fuck up. He worked with Santino, but no. And he got to work with Triple H. Like, he got the Triple H rub. They had to bring in Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, they're just like,
they're like, fuck
Jeff,
this
we don't
guy.
care if we're doing a storyline. We don't care if we're doing a storyline where Jeff's got drug problems or whatever. Vladimir, we got to try to get you the fuck over.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah, absolute flop.
I got one.
Who do you got?
Adam Cole.
Ooh.
He's a solid draw for an indie guy. Or not.
It's hard because he was a face in NXT, but his AEW.
And he was also the face in Ring of Honor too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he had to go to AEW.
They really tried to push him, and that's almost what makes me want to put him. It didn't work. I'll go as far as had potential.
Yeah, I mean he's been injured in AEW, so
He was kind of Triple H's guy though in NXT,
yeah.
but maybe good hand. But I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing is that like when he was doing his stuff in NXT, he had a really good run. But then they're like Triple H is like, there's nothing else you can do here. You got to go to the main roster. And Vince is just like, Adam Cole, he's gonna be Michael Cole's long lost son, pal. We're gonna shave his head.
Was that really the plan?
I that's what I had heard. I mean, Vince won't return my phone calls. I mean,
I heard he was going to be a manager.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was gonna. So what? One of the things I had heard was they were going to make him a manager because Vince did not believe in him as a talent.
Yeah.
He's too small, pal. He's smaller than poops. So we got to make him a manager. Either that or and we can't call him Adam Cole because there's only one Cole on the main roster, and it's Michael Cole.
Who's way better now that you're gone?
Yeah. I'm gone or Vince is gone.
Well, somebody said.
I would say he had potential.
Yeah.
And I'm an Adam Cole mark.
Let's go for another underrated but a Ring of Honor guy, Eddie Edwards. TNA World Champion, Ring of Honor World Champion.
I think with him, he was another one. He was a good hand.
Good hand.
And the issue with him is his loyalty to Davey Richards is what really fucked him.
Yeah, you and me disagree on Davey.
Well, what I'm saying is, because I know you're a Davey guy,
Yeah.
Davey Richards is a horrible businessman.
Yeah.
Okay. And because Davey Richards did horrible business, it burned bridges with a lot of people. But there's a lot of people that still liked Eddie. But Eddie felt a loyalty to Davey, so he's like, I got to go where Davey goes.
Yeah.
But Davey Richards, as a businessman and a human being, is such a piece.
It just sucks seeing the Motor City Machine. Well, it doesn't suck, but you see what the Motor City Machine Guns are doing right now, and it's like the American Wolves could be right with them.
Yeah.
You know, like it
But
just-
again, it's because of Davey Richards' unwillingness to, cooperate.
yeah. Great
You want to
wrestler.
end with this guy, Daniel? Our favorite. I have a guy that Doug hates, but the two of us love.
Who?
CM Punk.
Major
What do you
star.
want to see it for next week?
No, we can talk about him. Major star.
Well, and that's the thing. I hate the guy. But
But you know how I said
Yeah.
about AJ left TNA and it kind of crumbled?
yeah,
It kind of felt the same way for WWE. You had the Daniel Bryan shit, and you had some good stuff in between, but it really seemed to, and all you heard was chants for him.
yeah.
Yep.
And
really-
then he goes back to AEW and he makes him, like he said, $1 million gate on a rumor, and he sells out this. Like he just fucking AEW has kind of crumbled without him.
He sold out
Like,
United Center.
when he goes to a company and he leaves, it makes a big impact. And now that and he just had feud of the year, and even though it wasn't technically an A story, it was the A story. And him and Drew fucking made Hell in a Cell like a rivalry match again. Like it just he has stood the test of time. And I have shit on Punk. I have loved Punk. And that is the beauty of CM Punk. is
Same.
that sometimes you think he's a piece of shit, but other times you're like, this guy's the fucking man. And that's what you're supposed to in pro wrestling. Even though you might think that as a human being sometimes, I'm not here to judge the human being. I'm here to judge wrestling. And as far as what I love to watch, he has been a major part of a lot of that. And when Cult of Personality hits and it's clobbering time and the whole deal, it's a big fight feel. He's one of those little guys that brings a big fight feel to it. And his mouth, man, he's one of the best promos about that. We were talking about Roddy Piper. That's one of his big inspirations, and it makes fucking sense. He's one of the best promos in the modern era. CM Punk, you can say what you want about him, major fucking star.
Well, and that's the thing is that he is, and again, I don't I'm not a fan of his, but I will admit that wherever he goes, there's always a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
Now, when he gets into his fits and he's a pain in the ass and all that, it's just just shut up and wrestle because you're one of the best in the ring.
He might be the biggest and first independent darling.
Yeah. So because you're so good in the ring, you don't need to, you don't need to bitch and moan. Yes, I understand because a lot of his points I think are valid.
And it's kind of the character.
Yeah.
He is like that rebel against society, talk shit about everything, bitch when you're unhappy, and I don't give a fuck what you think because I'm he just the way he cuts even when he's just bitching about his coworkers in AEW and he's spitting fucking classic lines like I'm old, I'm tired, and I work with children, and that's something everybody can fucking relate to. And he's a legend, and there is this legend of CM Punk, and when you are that big of a legend. Like I love AJ Styles. I love Lex Luger. I don't know if they're legends. They're legends, but have this legend to them. Roddy Piper, I know we put him at Solid Draw, and it's weird to put Punk over that. But Punk is a major star in my book. And he can main event any wrestler. And I know his biggest thing is main event in WrestleMania and the fact that he hasn't done it. But he doesn't need it. And when he shows up, money gets drawn.
Right.
Yep.
And that is a major star in my book.
I agree with that.
I agree. Major star.
We're going to end on him.
Okay.
It's been a hell of a list. So far at Major Star, we have Sting, John Cena, CM Punk. Solid Draw, we have Roddy Piper, AJ Styles, Lex Luger. Good Hand, we have Nick Aldis, Tommy Dreamer, Vader, The Miz, and Eddie Edwards. At Had Potential, we have Raven, Jeff Jarrett, R-Truth, and Adam Cole. The Great Khali, we said didn't work. And for Flop, we have Vladimir Kozlov. I'm going to give one more name, gentlemen.
Okay.
Jinder Mahal.
Didn't work. I can't put him at Flop because he did try.
I don't disagree. I think he put his all into it.
Yeah.
It was
I'm going to
just
disagree. I'm going to say flop.
Yeah, well, you're still voted 2-1, so
I know.
Well,
Just wanted
you
to be
said
different.
you said Great Khali was just didn't work, and he was way better in the ring than Great Khali.
yeah.
And he tried, and him and Randy actually had some good matches, and he did. he had the athleticism, he had the look. The only issue, that's what almost puts him at head potential, is it might have been something if he wasn't positioned so bad beforehand. If it didn't go straight from jobber to main event and it was more of a build, it wouldn't have been such a shock to people.
Well, and again, for anybody that doesn't know, he was given the he was basically given the title because they had just inked the deal to do shows in India in December.
Yeah, everybody knows that, but he could have done something if it was more of a build.
Yeah.
If they had done that and then that year just made him fucking US champion or whatever and just had him fucking from the ground up start beating guys instead of a flat out win at the fucking, I mean, it's cool and that's what makes wrestling, unexpected, but it was too much for people and I don't think anybody could see him in that role and could take him seriously. They had to give the stories to make you take him seriously and they didn't do it for him. So I would just say didn't work.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
It was a hell of a list, guys. I love you both. We'll see everybody next week for part 2 with Clenneth.
All right. Tomorrow, when Tunes combine, Eric and I will be doing Goof Troop and Tailspin.
Make sure to check that one out. It's going to be a must watch.
Yep.
Yes, it will be.
We'll see everybody next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Glenn, if you suck.
We love you.